Hey guys, Eric, CEO of the Swiss here, and today just showing you three pieces of my collection. Three pieces that look quite similar, but they're all kind of different. These are Swiss Martini Stutzer. They're target rifles from a bygone era of Swiss target shooting. These rifles, so they're Martini actions. Of course, people know the Martini Henry, used in British service for a long while, but Martini was actually a Swiss guy. He was the one that kind of designed this action. And starting with the era of the Swiss Vetterli, the tube-fed bolt-action rifle, chambered in 10.4 Vetterli, these started to appear on the market as made-to-order target rifles. These are not mass-produced items. You would go to a gunsmith that specialized, or at least was good enough to make these, and you would order one to your specification, so that depended on what you wanted, your budget, that kind of thing. These rifles would still be made and used until probably the 50s or 60s. I don't think they survived past the 70s and 80s. At that point, that style of rifle went out of favor, and as well, these are made to shoot standing up, therefore standing shooting, and not more shells. They're not good to shoot prone at all due to the design of the stock. They're really designed to be shot offhand, standing up from the shoulder, and maybe shooting sitting, though I've never seen a picture of anyone shooting these sitting. So if you have one, please send it over. But yeah, they started making these. You can find them in 10.4 Vetterli. Then when the Swiss military moved on to the GP90 cartridge, the GP1890 cartridge, not the modern GP90, the precursor to the 7.5 GP11, they moved to these as well. So you will find some in GP1890. Then Switzerland adopted the GP11 cartridge, and everyone knows the GP11 cartridge. That's the one that goes in the K11 and K31 and the Sturmgewehr 57. So that's quite a well-known cartridge. So they started chambering those rifles in these calibers. But you also find them in other calibers. Some of these rifles were converted for hunting, so you find them in a wide variety of hunting caliber. 10.3 by 60R, you can find them in 9.3. I've seen some in 8mm Mauser. I've seen some that were in 7.5 55, but in a hunting configuration. Bloke on the Range, Mike, has a video on that. So there's a wide variety, and they're kind of all unique. As I mentioned, they're not mass-produced, not at all, and they all kind of have features that the client would want. You would go to a gunsmith and ask what you want. And in these three rifles, you can see three variants of what a client would actually want. These two are in 7.5 55 GP11, and this one is in 22 long rifle. This is not a conversion though. This is a straight up built, custom built 22. It was built like this. These are 7.5 55. You can tell a 7.5 55 GP11 rifle apart because they have a little 11 stamped on the receiver and on the barrel as well. Those chambered in GP1890 do not have these. Do not put 7.5 55 on an action that was made for GP1890. These are not made for it. They are not proofed for that kind of pressure. It could be dangerous for you and for the rifle. So as you can see, I will put some B-roll obviously, but you have this first one, which is a beautiful 7.5 55 rifle made by Hans Schwarz in Bern, Switzerland. It has old style open sights with a big blade at the front. The sights are adjustable in any way you want. They're set up for 300 meters. So these are made to shoot standing up, but they're made to shoot at 300 meters. That's what they were made to do. They're not for 25 or 50 meters. You can, they're great for that. That's not what they were designed for. But if you look at this one, this is quite a complex model. The action is the same. The action is a very simple action, but it's more. It has more scroll work on the trigger guard / pistol grip. You have a thumb rest. You have like very nice carvings in the wood. Adjustable butt plate. This very fancy rear sight. Very heavy barrel. This is actually a barrel made by Hammerly. You have the Hammerly crest on this one. This is a very heavy rifle, and at the bottom of the handguard you have socket in which you can put a sort of ball that's supposed to be used for your support hand to balance the rifle. Sadly, I do not have the ball that goes with it. I don't know if there ever was one, but I don't have it. So you would get this custom ordered. But what if you have less money and you can't get all these fancy features and like the very expensive Hammerly barrel that has fluting and all that kind of stuff? You go to something simpler, like this one. This one was made by E. Hauri in Rheinach, Switzerland. I should stop saying Switzerland. It's obvious, I think I mentioned they're from Switzerland. But this one is way simpler. You just have a simple comb on the side. These are all made for right-handed shooters. So you have a cheek rest on the side, but they're not made for left-handed shooters, especially this one with all the fancy stuff. But yeah, you have less money, you get something a bit less fancy, and this one is a bit less fancy. It has a simple octagonal barrel. The sight is a bit simpler, it's a bit less precise, so it's still very precise, but still it's less fancy than this one. It's lighter, you don't have a thumb rest, the scroll work isn't as beautiful, it's not as complex a piece, you don't have this fancy butt plate, but it's still a good target rifle. I've taken this one out to shoot more than once. It's really accurate, the trigger is amazing. It doesn't take away from the accuracy and quality of these rifles. They're just less fancy. It's a less fancy finish, less fancy options. Something that was also typical, owners would put little cartouche to put their name on it. This one sadly is a bit too worn out and I can't figure out who owned this rifle. And now you have this one. So this one, I'll put some side-by-side comparison for you, is way thinner. This is a 22 and it's a purpose-built 22. Some of these rifles in the past, when people, I guess, stopped using them for 300-meter target shooting, were like, oh, but nice, maybe I can use this, convert it to 22 and use it for 50 or 100 meter. And that's what some did. You can find big, heavy Martinis like this one with a sleeve and converted to 22. This is not the case. This one was built as a 22. It's much thinner, it's much lighter, it's a bit shorter as well. The sights are better for a 22 than a 7.5 but it's still a very nice rifle, and it goes in this family of fancy scroll-worky target rifles. I will stop rambling now. This was kind of video I wanted to show you these and talk about these target machines from bygone era. These are really neat. In Switzerland they're really easy to find since they're kind of not used in competition or for anything really, but fun. People, they buy them because they want them, they think they're neat and they want to have fun at the range. They're really inexpensive. You can get a simple one like this one from Hauri for, I don't know, 200 or 300 Swiss francs if you know where to look. 22 ones, they're kind of more popular, I think, on the market. That's just my opinion from what I've seen. They have a tendency to be sold faster. Very complex, very fancy models like this one, they go for maybe 500 to 800 depending on the shape. I don't remember seeing any one of these going for much more than 700-800. As I said, they're not popular despite all of them being kind of unique, but that's how things goes. Things are moving on. They're not used for federal official target shooting. They're not used for competition anymore, and they don't really have that cool collector's value that people are looking for nowadays. So they're kind of easy to grab, and if you live in Switzerland and you want some, it's a great thing to start collecting because there are plenty of them. They look all different. They have plenty of options. They come in a wide variety of calibers. They're fun to shoot. They're accurate. If you live outside the US, I can't really, sorry, not the US. If you live outside of Switzerland, sorry, can't really help you there. I don't know how much of these made it out of the country. And if they did, I don't think they got exported in huge quantity. So there's that. As I mentioned, these rifles were built kind of made to order, but they're built on kind of standard parts. This one typically has a Hammerly marked receiver and barrel, so it's probable that Hans Schwarz, so the maker of this rifle, bought the action and the barrel and probably bought the sights already pre-made, because this sight actually has some kind of patent number, so I guess it wasn't made by the same company, it was built by someone else, but is the one that assembled it. He assembled everything, made the fancy stock, assembled the mechanism, and made sure it shot straight. This one, the receiver doesn't have a branding on it, but the barrel do have the JP11 markings, and this one also has a Hammerly barrel, so that's what I think. Yeah, that's what's probable, is they got parts from people that made barrels, from people that made receivers, and then they just assembled this rifle. This one doesn't have any real kind of markings on it, except from the maker's mark. No proof that the barrel was made by Hammerly or any other company, but I bet that it was also a 22 barrel they got from someone else. Don't know if F. Mayor in Lausanne ever made barrel. I'll have to look that one up, I'm not sure. So yeah, there you go. To me, these rifles are great. They're really fun. I'm actually gonna get rid of one or two of these for a simple reason, is that I want to acquire other kind of martinis to show you guys. So one or two of these are gonna go away from the collection, find a new home, and I will probably try to find one that was made for hunting. So and that's it. I don't have much more to tell you about these ones. I don't know all the history. I know the Swiss military at some point tried out Martini action rifles, but never got adopted. And there you go. That's all for me, and I will see you in the next video. Don't hesitate to like and subscribe, share the video, and drop a comment down below. And I will leave you with some footage from Nikki. See you next time. Oh, by the way, a quick anecdote regarding these rifles. The Hammerly, the Swiss company, a Swiss company at that time, sold Martini actions to Springfield, Springfield from the US, and they made these to equip the US International Rifle Team of 1928. So they imported 30 of these rifles without barrels, and then Springfield actually made and custom fitted 30-06 barrels, because that was the caliber that they used at that time. They didn't want them to shoot 7.5-55, and yeah, they made Martini action rifles for the US shooting team, and I think they classified third with these rifles in 1928, behind Switzerland and I think Sweden, if I'm not mistaken. So that's a quick little anecdote. I think you can still find these rifles on the collector's market in the US. They're probably still around, probably very expensive because they only made 30 of them, and they kind of have an exotic origin. They're Swiss-made guns with American-made barrels for an international shooting team. So I think that's kind of neat. Hope you enjoyed this little anecdote. So there you go. See you. Star of the show. Can you move, Nikki?